Mary, is it ever possible that just facing it's a physical addiction, removing the addiction or gradually becoming more aware of it, that something can change fairly quickly? Not saying that the emotion has been fully dealt with at all, but that there's that something can change quite quickly?
I think when you connect to your hurt self, a lot of things change quite quickly. But before then, you've got to be careful you haven't just substituted another addiction. Like, if you stop a physical addiction and then you don't feel some pain, if you don't start feeling some of these things, then you've subbed in a different addiction.
Yes, but that period of feeling that compulsion, like, I just really want that and I'm not going to let myself have it.
Yeah.
But then that feeling of desperate compulsion can pass, and it's like, I know that feels so horrible to do that. But
yep. The only way you can be certain that you've released the addiction is if you have connected to the hurt underneath that compulsion feeling. And you'll know if you've done that. So I think your question indicates that you have distracted yourself from your compulsion. Do you concur, Jesus? Yes. Yeah. This is the hurt self, the connection and release of feelings from the hurt self is the thing that obliterates the compulsion. Nothing else.
So it's only when so that would be kidding myself to think, oh, it's not anywhere near as strong as it was.
Yeah, because honestly, you've just psyched yourself into a place where it's not such a big deal and it's willpower surrounding this compulsion. And there's a lot of compulsions that are still left in your life that can fill the gaps. Kel?
Yeah, just from that, that's what I've been doing, like stopping coffee, going shopping, doing little things like that, and actually noticing myself get more angry and putting that onto Bruce.
Yes.
And so I sort of in a bit of a lull about that I've given this up and I've challenged an addiction, and then it comes out somewhere else.
Yeah. You're not getting and how sad is it that you're willing to give up these physical addictions and still there's so much coming out of you towards the person who's supposed to be the most special to you. The anger of not getting those addictions met ends up getting placed onto your partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was still not using my will to feel my hurt self.
Yeah. If you try to give up the compulsion using willpower, it's going to be so hard. You're going to end up being a tetchy, miserable, kind of cranky person.
Yeah.
And you're better off examining your will as it is, without facade. This is why we emphasise the facade is so important to let go of. Like, let yourself see how you really are right now.
Oh, sorry. No, it doesn't matter.
No, Jesus wants to engage you anyway. So, Kate, hold on to the mic. Yeah.
Yeah, when you give up your addiction through willpower, it's a bit like a smoker who gives up his cigarettes by force, right? By force of will. But everybody knows that a smoker who does that gets what? He gets really grumpy, angry, bitter, twisted for 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, particularly the initial part. He's really twisted, right? And then what does he do generally? He goes and gets candy or some other form of addiction to suppress this other thing that's even worse for him, is what he believes. But he does that because he hasn't dealt with the hurt emotion. And Mary's statement, many of you just dismissed. She made a statement that said, if you do not get to the hurt emotion, you will not give up the compulsion. You will not. All you're doing is using willpower to get around it, or you'll take on another addiction to avoid it and then say, oh, I gave that up years ago. But when the actual feeling, the hurt feeling, is still not released. Remember, Mary said in this list, the point of doing the whole thing is to get to the hurt feeling that creates the compulsion. So that's our point. Unless you get to the hurt feeling creating the compulsion, nothing will actually be benefited through the rest of the process. You must get to the hurt feeling and fully feel the hurt feeling associated with the compulsion. Otherwise, there will be no benefit to the rest of the process. Yep.
Thanks, honey. Yep. And this is about, remember my first talk this week, I talked about the will to love. This is a lot about engaging that will. The overwhelming stimuli, placing yourself in situations where you would usually just live in addiction and choosing to expose the emotion or not meet the addiction and feel the feelings. This is a lot about growing your will to love. Remember I said I didn't even start growing my will to love again in this life until I started to do this properly. Okay. Let's see what I wrote in conclusion. Okay. Addictions will not leave us unless we challenge them emotionally. Anything else, intellectual work, is all going to be based around willpower. Many people have been attempting to deal with their addictions based on willpower. Can you guys relate to that? Like I tried that for a long time and it just gets demoralising. Because you're just having to use more and more will. And more and more willpower. And your will is already engaged in trying to get the addiction met. So it's like an internal battle going on all the time. Willpower can never be effective because the addiction comes from emotions. And remember, will is what is the emotional soul-based desire. Willpower is the attempt to override the will. So to truly release addictions, we must engage in an emotional process. So everything I talked about with you today, acknowledging the addiction, that's going to be an emotional thing, not an intellectual thing. You'll feel it like, wow, I can feel that addiction in play now. Feeling the responses, you're going to engage with that, with a knowledge emotionally of the sin. Not judging yourself will be a will-based decision. And then feeling through the addiction and feeling the hurt self, that's all going to be emotional. And the good news is when you get to that point of feeling the hurt self, the addictions do naturally leave you. And actually, what felt like a huge big thing and a huge effort for years and years and trying to stop it and fix it, you think, what was the big deal? I don't even feel like that anymore. Things become easier, you feel more relaxed. Because actually this, I think Cornelius mentioned that earlier today, this takes up a lot of energy and effort being engaged in this process all the time. It's like you think, how did I ever get anything done when I was so engaged in just in this compulsion of avoiding these emotions? Like when did I have any time left for anything else? Because you notice how much energy it was taking up in you. And suddenly you feel like a lot lighter. Okay. Any questions before I give you your homework? Yes, John?